Hello, this is Brian. Welcome to part 3 of the Islip Ridge hike to Mount Islip, which I can't see from here yet. I'm at about 7,400 feet in elevation right now, roughly. Trying to match my elevation with that saddle there, which is about 7,400 feet. That's the saddle immediately north of South Mount Hawkins. And again, it's about 7,400 feet. I believe I'm about level with that. It looks like I'm almost level with Kratka Ridge, which is 7,515 feet. I have about a mile to go to intersect the Cienega Trail, which is another trail on the flanks of Mount Islip. I'm still on the Islip Ridge Trail. I just passed the 3-mile marker. At the sign it says Mount Islip is 5 miles. So I have about just a little shy of 2 miles left to summit. I'm kind of tired today. The sun is intense. I mean, the breeze is cool and the shade is sweet, but if you come up the Islip Ridge Trail, be prepared with a lot of water and be prepared to take some breaks in the shade, because that sun is intense. I mean, man, today is April 21st, 2019, so the sun is very high in the sky. We're about 2 months away from the summer solstice, so it's not at the highest point in the sky yet, which will be around the 21st of June, but I don't want to blind you. I'm not gonna. I was almost gonna go point up at the sun. Take my word for it. The sun is very high in the sky. Getting pretty rugged here. Looks like we're climbing up the shelf, the west shelf. That's a little bit above this lower ridge line here. I mean, I've had close to 2,000 feet of elevation gain already, and I have about 700 to 800 feet more, provided I don't hit any downhill stretches on the way to the mountain peak. I doubt I will, but it does happen sometimes. I mean, there were a few very brief little downhills at the beginning of the trail, like the first quarter to half mile. There were a few pitches of slight downhill here and there. Now it's just been a very steady, not steep, but very, very steady uphill climb. So you can tell here it's not that steep, but it is a workout, because it's basically, since I had a couple of flat stretches near where I had a couple downhills, it's been steady since then, so you will get a good workout with this trail. From the bottom at Crystal Lake, where I was this morning, it's about a 2,700 foot elevation gain over 5 miles one way. So it's not, like I said, putting that in mind, it's not extremely steep. 2,700 feet is a considerable elevation gain in a hike, but it's not extremely steep because it's spread out over 5 walking miles. It's just very steady. You really, after the first half a mile, you really don't get any really level stretches, maybe beyond, maybe about a 20-foot stretch here, a 50-foot stretch there, but for the most part, you're just climbing. But like I said, the trail's totally doable. It's just I recommend cool weather. And while the air itself is nice, the sun is definitely bearing down on me. There is a lot of exposure on this trail to the sun. Like I said, now we've climbed up above the 6,000 foot mark. We do have a lot of Jeffrey pines, some sugar pines, and white firs. They provide sporadic shade. along with some canyon live oaks. But don't expect a lot of constant shade. So I suggest taking breaks when you're hiking this. I know I've taken a few. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm a slow hiker. I'm a very slow hiker, actually. Except on the downhill part, when the downhill's not super steep. I'm a little bit on the heavy side. So I have more weight to lug up with me. But you know what? I don't care. Well, I care because it makes the hiking a little bit harder for me. But I'm not really self-conscious about it. Just I have to work a little bit harder than others because I'm not quite as in shape. I've been hiking a lot, but I still really don't have the best eating habits. So I take my time. If it takes me 5 hours to get to the top, it won't take me 5 hours from here unless I take a break and I fall asleep and take a nap, who knows. But I'm not planning on that. I'm definitely going to find another place to sit pretty soon, just kind of soak in the atmosphere and hopefully be in some sweet shade. I'll tell you. Also, one thing about this hike is you're going to want to savor it because it's just beautiful here, insanely beautiful. The scenery here is insane, I'm telling you. These rugged cliffs that fall down towards the 39. These cliffs and the loose granite, see all this? This is all decomposed granite right here. That's what washes down the mountain during summer thunderstorms, winter rains, and of course snow avalanches will probably carry some dirt with them too. And that's why, that and also because the rock is very precipitous and decomposing, why the 39 is closed just past the junction of Crystal Lake access road. So there's so many slides and washouts. You gotta expect that. In fact, it's been about 3 months at least now that there's been a huge washout along Angeles Crest Highway. I think it's about 11 miles out of La Cañada. And it's going to be closed for a long time. I've talked with a ranger over by Grassy Hollow Visitor Center. They're basically telling me that they have no idea when it's going to be open. There have been portions of the Angeles Crest Highway that have been closed for years due to slide damage. These mountains are full of loose granite rock and loose granite soil. And every time I drive up into the mountains, I see lots of little rocks on the roadway. So sometimes I kind of have to weave around when it's safe, when there are no other cars coming, just so I don't drive over some big rocks that fall on the road. Well, better keep on climbing. I want to find a nice shady place to rest. My backpack's a little heavier than normal, considering it's warm and sunny. Brought a lot more water with me today. Well, got a nice view of Middle Hawkins right there. The peak behind the tree there is Mount Hawkins, 8850 elevation. That one there is 8,505 feet. That's about the same elevation as Wright Mountain above Wrightwood. That's Sadie Hawkins. I believe the elevation is 8,047. And again, that's South Mount Hawkins, and the elevation there is 7,783 feet. On this week last year, this very weekend, I hiked up from Crystal Lake up over almost going all the way to Mount Hawkins, but then I made it to the Hawkins Ridge junction and just went over Middle Hawkins and then on to South Mount Hawkins. I missed the turn. I missed the turn off or whatever for Sadie Hawkins, so that one remains on my list of summits I need to hike here in the beautiful San Gabriel Mountains. I'm just going to find me a suitable place to sit down. I'll see you in part 4. I'll see how far I am along at that point.